Today, as we take account of the state of our city, we stand on the cusp of a milestone year. We mark the 10th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. So many wondered how long it would take for Biloxi to return to Biloxi, how long it would take for our city facilities to be replaced, for our roads to be restored, for our homes and indeed our lives to be rebuilt. Looking around our city today, you realize that some things returned quickly, some more slowly, and while some things may never return, others are better than ever. Our role, our task, is to make sure that we restore or replicate those things that made and make Biloxi the great place that we so love. Today, the state of our city is a profile in contrast. While Biloxi faces some of our most challenging financial times in a generation, we have more public works projects underway now than at any other time in the history of our city. Drive almost any street and you'll see the signs, detour or men at work, and make no mistake, they all say that your city is on the move. While we have cut our parks and recreation budget by 10%, we've unveiled a new waterfront park adjacent to the beautiful Maritime and Seafood Industry Museum. Together, this park and museum provide an impressive gateway into our city. They tell visitors that they have arrived at someplace special. And this summer we'll be opening two new parks, the much anticipated MGM Park and the Lighthouse Park. We'll see a new multi-million-dollar public works facility that will provide our employees first-class, professional working conditions. And in these times of unprecedented public construction, remember this: everything built in this city goes through public works. And in the coming year, we'll complete tens of millions of dollars in infrastructure work. We'll embark on millions of dollars of even more work. And we'll host media and visitors from around the world who will be making a pilgrimage back to Biloxi and the Mississippi Gulf Coast to check on our progress and our rebuilding at the 10-year mark of Katrina. What these visitors will see is a city on the move. They'll see a city of contrast. They'll see a city where even though our city departments face spending cuts of as much as 14%, we are working with less and providing more. To be sure, the fiscal soundness of the city has cast a tall shadow over the past several years. Controlling costs has had a major influence on decision-making in all city departments. Let's talk about finances right up front. The city spent $53 million last year in providing you the day-to-day services that you expect and deserve as tax-paying citizens of Biloxi. That's not counting the infrastructure work you see or the construction of major city facilities, which are mostly federal funded and bump our annual spending into the tens of millions of dollars. But the fact remains, we must focus on managing the local costs of government. That $53 million in local money the city spent last year. That's more than $1 million a week, or close to $150,000 a day of your money. That's what it costs to open the doors, pay the light bill, keep the streets and neighborhoods safe, and provide parks and recreation programs at ball fields and community centers across the city. Once again, we've done all of these things without raising your city property taxes, just like we've done for more than 2 decades now. Running the city and improving the city has dipped into our cash reserves, which right now are the lowest they have been in probably 3 decades. And that means we must continue to decrease spending, to work smarter, to find new revenue sources, and all the while make great and innovative accomplishments in all departments and in all areas of our city. It was with budget constraints in mind that Councilmember Dixie Newman set in motion a citizen-based coalition to raise money for Hiller Park, that 100-acre jewel of a park on the Back Bay in West Biloxi. Councilmember Newman and her group conducted a half-dozen fundraising events, from a dog festival, a kickball contest, movie nights, and Easter egg hunts, and accepted donations from civic-minded businesses to raise nearly $15,000. Mississippi Power even stepped in and added new lights and improved lighting in the park. And thanks to agreements with Harrison County, you can expect to see a walkway and bike path connecting Hiller Park with the neighborhoods to the west towards Pops Ferry Road. The Hiller Park work is far from done. You'll see a splash pad, refurbished restrooms, resurfacing of the basketball and tennis courts, a second dog park, a nature trail, and a kayaking trail. Tidelands grants will help with dredging around the boat launch and adding a boardwalk that will front the back bay. This is what it takes for local government to be successful in this day and age: vision and looking for new money and new partnerships. We see another example in the Biloxi Fire Department, which appointed a veteran firefighter, Captain Michelle Crawley, to take on the task of locating and securing available grants. Captain Crawley had quite the successful year, hauling in nearly $110,000 in grants. One of the largest grants was a $76,000 windfall that was used to purchase 3 sets of Jaws of Life. This means that all frontline pumpers in the Biloxi Fire Department fleet now have this vital equipment. This is a milestone that the Biloxi Fire Department has been striving for since the early 70s, when the city purchased its first Jaws of Life. The fire department used $1 million in federal funds to purchase a new ladder truck to help fight fires in buildings of 10 stories or more, and to help keep our aging fleet up to date. That truck is being built right now and will join the fleet later this year. We need top-performing equipment because last year the Biloxi Fire Department responded to more than 6,470 calls, of which 4,100, or 66%, were emergency medical calls. For the first time in years, we have seen a drop in medical calls because of a reevaluation of non-emergency calls. We're working with AMR to reduce the number of non-emergency transports. But make no mistake, if you're in an emergency, dial 911 and trained emergency workers will respond. Every member of the Biloxi Fire Department is a trained first responder, and today we have 36 nationally registered EMTs and 2 nationally registered paramedics. Not since the early 1980s has the Biloxi Fire Department had paramedics, and never has the fire department boasted this many EMTs among its ranks. The Biloxi Police Department also recognized the talent within its ranks and embarked on an 18-month process that resulted in the largest round of promotions in recent history. 2 majors, 2 captains, 8 lieutenants, and 12 sergeants are now providing a greater degree of accountability in the rank and file of the Biloxi Police Department. And despite a huge number of special events throughout the past year, the department kept overtime within budget. And then there's the issue of keeping our community safe. The 124-member Biloxi Police Department saw aggravated assaults cut in half and traffic fatalities limited to 5 in all of last year. The police department responded to 123,000 calls for service, made 7,700 arrests, and conducted almost 17,000 traffic stops last year. Of all the arrests made, only 3% required forceful means. This is a testament to the discipline, the training, and the professionalism of the men and women of the Biloxi Police Department. In Parks and Recreation, continuing the concept of sharing the expenses, the city partnered with Harrison County to open the East Biloxi Senior Center at the Orr O'Keefe Museum of Art. This location provides a gathering spot for seniors to enjoy fellowship, create arts and crafts, and pursue other meaningful activities. Of course, the big story on Point Cadet was the opening of the Seafood Museum with its boat-in-a-bottle concept. This museum, of course, is next door to the waterfront park with its open-air pavilion, splash pad, and green space. We were delighted with the huge success of the Biloxi Seafood Festival, which returned with large crowds in 2014. These types of outdoor venues are important to showcase Biloxi's appeal to visitors and accentuate our great weather and inviting sense of place. That's the concept for our work at the park being constructed next to the Biloxi Visitor Center, where incidentally we saw another 21% increase in visitors last year. Many of those 149,000 people who walked through the doors at the Visitor Center will welcome the new parking at the Lighthouse Park. We'll also have an elevated nature boardwalk, which will traverse a children's playground, a small pond, native marsh plants, and an outdoor open-air pavilion that will be a gathering place for students studying our environment and a great venue for weddings, family reunions, and other special events. Our goal here is to remind our residents and show our visitors our unique charm and colorful history of Biloxi. That's why you see a first-class civic center where we hosted dozens and dozens of special events last year. We were also delighted to see the rebirth of the White House Hotel, where owners have painstakingly restored this gem to its opening day charm and grace, while also providing the sophistication of today's world. Harris did a wonderful job in removing the remnants of an abandoned construction site and transformed it into the Grand Lawn, a magnificent venue for waterfront concerts. We're also proud of the tremendous investment that Landry's made in rebranding and restoring the Isle into a premier resort, the Golden Nugget, and we're anticipating a forthcoming announcement for exciting plans at the former Casino Magic site. Of course, the drive for more development in Biloxi continues to face the challenges of the cost of insurance, construction, and elevation, coupled with a tight market for private financing. Our Community Development Department reports $111 million in construction last year. That's a $7 million increase over 2013. This uptick is primarily attributable to two projects: the city-funded MGM Park at Beau Rivage, which received a permit for $30 million, and the Arborview apartment complex off Pops Ferry Road, a huge development that was permitted at $23 million. We also saw 101 new homes built last year in Biloxi, with new homes accounting for $24.2 million in permits. We're continuing to be encouraged by the new home construction, particularly in the Wool Market area of the city, where elevation is not an issue and the Public Works Department has invested millions of dollars in introducing city water and sewer service. We have a total of 10 residential developments in one stage or another at the present time. Of course, we're anxiously anticipating the renewed interest that the Biloxi Shuckers and MGM Park will spark in our downtown area. You already see the Sal and Mookie's restaurant going up just north of the town green. And speaking of development, Keesler Medical Center last year began a major 3-year, $74 million renovation that will realign the outpatient specialty clinics, rework the surgical floor, and provide state-of-the-art operating rooms and a new centralized minor procedure suite. This huge project will provide new hematology, oncology, and dialysis suites and a new infusion center. It moves the dental and mental health clinics into the medical center and replaces nearly 48,000 square feet of aging infrastructure. We were also delighted to have the Secretary of the Air Force, Deborah Lee James, participate in our popular Preservation in May series last year. The Secretary was able to find out about the great relationship that has existed between Biloxi and Keesler for 72 years now. Thankfully, it was a slow hurricane season last year in the Atlantic. Still, the 403rd Wing's world-famous hurricane hunters flew nearly 1,000 hours to collect tropical storm data. In fact, 2 10-day deployments covered 3 storms that struck Hawaii last year. And at the end of this month, Team Keesler will be hosting the Air Force Thunderbirds and the Army's Golden Knights parachute team and many other flying demonstrations. It will be a truly exciting weekend. There's also a great deal of excitement at Biloxi Public Schools. Let's talk about what we're seeing in our A-rated public school district, where we're number 3 in the state academically, behind only Pass-Christian and Clinton. This year, the prestigious Milken Foundation awarded a $25,000 grant to Cagney Weaver, a 4th grade teacher at North Bay Elementary. Our Biloxi High School, in partnership with the National Math and Science Initiative, offers 16 college-level courses. This saves parents thousands of dollars in college tuition. Another appeal of Biloxi Public Schools is the many extracurricular activities offered for our students. Our music program has been recognized as one of the best in the nation, due in no small part to the director of bands, Travis Coakley, who himself has been named one of the top 50 band directors in the nation. The Biloxi High School Band was in Philadelphia for the Thanksgiving Day Parade last year, and this year they've been invited to the National Cherry Blossom Parade in Washington, D.C. The Biloxi Arts program offers instruction in ceramics and pottery, visual arts, drawing and painting, art history, and art appreciation. To be sure, these are the caliber of programs that you would expect to find on a college campus, and they're being offered right here in our award-winning, top-rated Biloxi Public School system. And here's another milestone in our recovery from Katrina. Nichols is now home to a growing Head Start program with 7 classrooms and more than 140 children from Biloxi and throughout Harrison County. And today, we're proud to announce that the enrollment at Biloxi Public Schools is 5,714 students, which is 92% of what it was pre-Katrina. When you think of Biloxi Public Schools, remember, it's like Superintendent Arthur McMillan likes to say, we're not just a school district, we're a nation, an Indian nation. Last year, we told you about Biloxi Regional's plans to build a second medical center north of the bay in the Cedar Lake area. Work on this effort continues to make its way through the regulatory process. But meanwhile, as exciting as that prospect of a second hospital is, let's not overlook the extraordinary things that Biloxi Regional is accomplishing on a daily basis. Having quality health care speaks volumes about the quality of a community. Consider this. Biloxi Regional is currently one of 2 medical centers in the entire country and one of 3 in the world that is using a revolutionary piece of angiography equipment. It's called the GE Discovery IGS 740. By using this state-of-the-art laser-guided system, Biloxi Regional now has the ability to offer multidisciplined clinicians an unprecedented diagnostic imaging tool. Clinicians can now address a much wider range of vascular disease using endovascular procedures, be it cardiac or peripheral. Another area where Biloxi Regional has distinguished itself is in the area of orthopedics. Whether it's knee or hip replacements, Biloxi Regional was the first and remains the only medical center on the Gulf Coast that uses a Mako robot. This allows orthopedic surgeons to use pinpoint accuracy in the vital areas of knee or hip replacement or in treating spinal issues. As a result of its success, Biloxi Regional has seen its number of orthopedic cases double in the last 3 to 4 years. Biloxi Regional, for 3 years in a row now, has been recognized by the state as a top performer on key quality measures. The hospital is also taking steps to give patients easier access to services. Biloxi Regional's first floor is currently under construction with a $1.6 million project to renovate the registration area and emergency room so that you can find all services in one convenient location. Throughout this year, as we draw nearer to the August 29th anniversary of Katrina, we will be reminded of our many successes. We will find inspiration in the resolve and resilience of our people. We will find confidence in the remarkable recovery of our community, but we are still confronted by challenges. Among the challenges that frustrates many is the length of time major recovery projects take. It's simply reality. A decade of rebuilding is but a blip in time for a 316-year-old city. Since late 2008, we have talked about the city's massive $355 million Restore Biloxi infrastructure program. Let's talk about where we are today with this effort. While the storm struck on August 29, 2005, the millions of dollars for our infrastructure work, more than $355 million, was not fully obligated until May of 2011, some 6 years after the storm. Since that time, we have designed and built several projects and have a number of others underway. Currently, more than $20 million in construction has been completed, and another $150